After a lengthy search on YouTube for videos on how to recover or cover a round stool with vinyl or some other type of cloth, I decided to make my own video. Now, there are a lot of videos out there on this, and honestly, all of them I've seen are horrible. This is going to be my second attempt. I've already recovered one of these, so I'm a newbie at this, but I think this is a little bit better than the other videos out there, because the ones I've seen, they're just covering the stool and there's all these clumps and everything like that all over the place. So we're going to go over the tools real quick and then show you what you do. So first thing you want to do is get a staple puller. I got this at Home Depot. It's made by Arrow. It's about $3. I will put a link in the description below to where you can get this from Amazon. You want to get you some scissors, stapler. This is just a cheap Stanley stapler that I've had for some time. And you'll also want to get or have a little set of needle nose. And of course, your material. We're going to use vinyl, which is a little bit more difficult than cloth. I practiced with cloth and then went to the vinyl because it will bunch up. It's thicker. It'll bunch up a little easier. So the first thing you'll want to do is get your staple puller and start pulling the staples. Now, I've seen videos where people are just ripping this off. Well, then you've got to deal with all the staples and all the staples that broke and everything else in there. So you'll take your staple puller. Now, it may be difficult on this black. You take it in there, and we'll show you some close-ups, and then you pry it out. Now, you'll also need some needle nose possibly, because not every time will this work. But there is a proper way to use it that I actually found out the hard way, because I was not getting the staples out completely. So, okay, that's what I was doing there. So I'd pull it out, and then you'd still have some of it left, and then you'd have to take your needle nose and pull it out. Now, what I found works best, and this is just from trial and error, is we'll go ahead, we're going to get under the staple here, kind of dig our way under. And we've got it stuck in there, but go ahead and push it further in, and then as you're pushing, pull up swiftly. And there is the entire staple just out in one shot. And just like that, we are done. Now, all the staples are out. We've got a pretty clean surface here. I don't feel anything sticking up, any mishaps from the manufacturer or anything like that when they actually put the cushion on. You'll notice there are 4 holes in this. I've seen a lot of people that will build a stool cushion or put a cushion on an existing stool, and they don't drill the holes. These holes are to allow air to release and to get back into the cushion. So if you don't have those holes, pretty good chance you could split the cushion or split a seam, what have you. So that's why these 4 holes are here. So if you're going to build your own base out of a cushion, I would encourage you to put some holes in the bottom of it. That's what they're for. They're not for mounting. Those are out here. These are to allow air to move within the cushion. Otherwise you could flatten it out, all that good stuff. So, and they go all the way through. And we're going to be using the existing foam. We're just going to take off the foam pad here and put it back where it needs to go. No reason to put new foam in there. There's nothing wrong with it. There's actually nothing wrong with the cushion aside from the color. Now, it'd be great for me to use this as a template for the new one, but it's already formed. There's no way to flatten it out. I don't know if that's just from the age of the stool. We've had this for about 15 years, but there's no way to flatten it out. So I think it was probably formed at the factory. Maybe they have some kind of forming machine where they heat it up and it kind of contours to the shape of the stool. I don't know, but I can't use it, so we're going to have to freehand it. Okay, now we've got our new material right here. And you can do this a couple different ways. We've got it reversed right now, so we can set the cushion on here, and then we can kind of outline, pull it, and kind of outline where we need to cut it, since we don't have a template to go off of. You can do it that way, or the real quick and dirty, easy way that I like to do it is kind of get it where you need to go, And we'll get approximately, because we want a little bit of overhang. Tops and the bottom, sides, everywhere. That's probably a little bit too much because I want to utilize some of this material for other projects. That's probably enough. And then we'll just get a rough outline of what the shape we want. It's not going to be even close to being exact, but you want enough material that you have to work with. And that's about right. Got a big circle here, and now I'm going to cut on the inside of that circle. More precise way to do this would be to actually measure the diameter. If you had like a large compass or a circle making jig, you can just add 3 inches to that, make your circle and cut it out. But we don't really need to be precise in any of this. We just want enough overhang so we're not going to be loose. So we've got enough overhang on every side to do what we need to do everywhere throughout the entire piece. We're not short anywhere. And the first thing I did when I recovered the other stool was I actually just took one corner, stapled it. I've got one here and we're going to put another one over here. These staples aren't critical, so if you've got your hammer out, I noticed a lot of videos they're using a stapler and a hammer. You don't want to do that yet because chances are you're going to have to take that staple out. And a very good chance, probably 100% chance. So we're going to go ahead and do the other, the opposite end here. And you don't want to pull it too tight, but you want it kind of snug. So stick one right there. And we've got 2 opposite edges here stapled. Now I also went a step further as I did the opposite edges or corners. Put one there and put one there. And you can see that's tight enough. We're already starting to take shape, believe it or not. It's not too bad. Next thing we did is we have these triangular flaps here. As I pulled those pretty tight, put one staple in. Now that staple didn't go in all the way. That's fine. I'm not going to hammer it. I'm not going to do anything with it yet because again, I probably will have to move that. We'll go to the opposite corner, staple this one. Again, pulling it somewhat tight. You don't have to rip it in half. We're doing the same thing on the opposite corners. I can hear some birds going nuts. That one isn't going well. Again, it's fine. You can see we're definitely starting to take some shape here. Now, I've seen a lot of videos where this is where they stop and they stick it on a chair. They're like, calling it good. This is why I made this video. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we don't have too much of a crease anywhere. And we do. We've got some good creases right here, which we don't want. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull it tight. And we're going to kind of make our crease go to the opposite side. So I'm pulling it tight over here where the crease would normally be. And then I'm kind of making the crease on the bottom, and we'll staple that because the crease down here doesn't matter. Up here is where it matters. You can see we still have a little bit of a crease right here, so if we pull it, see how it goes away, pulling it tight, and then I'll put another staple right there. We still got a small one, so with that original staple, we're going to actually take out. Remember I said you would probably have to remove these. And you will. Trust me. They're not going to stay. And we'll also remove this other one here. And we'll pull it. See that just disappears? Put another one right next to that. Now that's a good corner right there. Start on the other side. And there's really no rhyme or reason or perfect way to do this. Again, this is not going to be perfect. It's just going to be better than what I've seen. Put a staple there, staple there. We're starting to take shape on this whole corner. Go over here and make sure your foam is not bunching up. A little bunch up there, that's fine. Got rid of it. Pull it again. We're going to take this original staple out over here. Actually, we'll start from this side. We'll go one direction. So we're going to pull it. Now see, if I just left it here, I'd be a crease, but I'm pulling it back, and then kind of the back over here, I'm pulling it over to the side. And if you want the staple to stay, if you don't want to have to hammer it, put some force right here. That way there's no movement and it will go all the way in. You won't need to hammer anything. And okay, we're going to pull here. See, we're pulling, getting it straight, tight. We're going to put a permanent staple right here. No hammer needed. And another permanent staple right here. Got some creasing here. We're going to pull. If you're doing this with cloth, it's going to be a lot easier. Vinyl is very difficult to work with, that I've found. Again, I'm new to this. I'm sure some of you are like, ah, that's easy. What are you talking about? Now you will start to develop some small creases. I'm not worried about this. This will not be shown. We'll show you the finished product when we're done, but we're going to keep on doing this. There we go. This one we're going to take out now. But I found the key to this is kind of always look ahead, what you're coming up to. So there we got that crease out. That was over here. So we're going to move that staple. See, we're already starting to get a good pattern going here. These initial staples are just starting points. I tried to do it without doing those, and it just did not work for me. And for some reason, this method has worked. Well, the one time I've done it has worked for me. I'm trying to sound like a professional here, but it's I've only done this once, and this is what worked the best for me. Again, I'm pulling, and I'm pulling over to the side. So all those crinkles are not getting into the top side. They're getting down here, which they won't matter. Now we've got our original staple right here. We're going to remove that. You see, we've got a large piece right here that we got to deal with. If I just pull straight back, it's just going to make it worse over here in the end. So what I'm going to do is pull back and then over this way. So back, then over to my right. So I'm pulling towards me and to my actual right. We're still going to end up with a small crease probably right there, but it's nothing that'll be noticed. And you see we've developed a crease right here a little bit. Well, we can fix that. You got to pull it. And go over to the opposite direction. You can see we're halfway done. Now you're going to get these little tiny ones right here. You can rework those out. I'm not going to because they're really not going to be seen, but you can do that if you're going to see those or you just want to get rid of them. And we're out of staples. We have to get some more here. And speaking of the staples, I'm using some Arrow. They're 8mm or 5/16 of an inch. You could use quarter, a little small. Half's going to be too big, probably. Then you will have to hammer them in, unless you're using like an electric stapler, or you just want to push really hard. But for these manually operated Arrows and Stanleys, they seem to be the best way to go. I'm going to get back to it here. Again, I'm pulling back and then over. And this one, we've got a large, large crease there. We are going to have to remove that original staple, but we're going to get as much out of it as we can. And I'm pulling pretty hard right here. There's the original staple. Get that out of there. We're almost there. A little more than halfway. Okay, once you get about halfway through, we're going to want to come from the other direction. This time we're going to pull back and we're going to pull to the left, because we're trying to eliminate too much of a triangle at the end. So we're kind of taking it from both sides. See right here we've got a gap, or got a little bit of a wrinkle. We'll just pull it back, staple it, and it'll disappear eventually. Pull it, stretching it over, doing a fold there. It's a little bit too much of a wrinkle right there. Pull that out of there. Gone for the most part. What I'm going to do here is do a fold, pull it back, see that disappears. Trying to take up as much of this slack in the end as we can. You can see this is rather large still. We're going to have to deal with that at the end. Got a pretty good size, which we'll get rid of that in just a moment here. See, this triangle is getting a lot smaller. So I'm going to pull back. Now if I just pull back, you see this wrinkle? Now if I pull back over to the right and then to the left and fold it over, that will make that disappear. And at the end here we've got a little bit of a wrinkle. So we're going to pull it really tight, put a staple in the middle. Pull it over here. I'll have to pull it right here. Now that could be acceptable to some people, but there are still some little wrinkles here. So what you want to do, and I'm not going to get all these out. So like this one right here, we're just going to pull it. See how it goes away? Pull it right under the staple. And that's one reason why I'm not putting all the staples right on top of each other, because I'm going to come back, pull, staple. You see that pretty much disappears. Got a big one here, pull it back. There's a big gap there, so I've got plenty of room to work with. And next you'll start just filling in those gaps where those staples are not. Got a nice one right there. Now that one's going to take a little bit more effort. Pull the old staple out. Pull it back. Disappears for the most part. And you're going to have some small ones. I mean, you're going to have to, unless you want to spend hours on this, or if you're just better at it than I am, Got another large one right here. We can probably pull that out for the most part. Yeah, we can. Pull it. There's some staples in it. Right, a staple in it. We got another big one here. Now this one will require us to get this out. Go from the bottom. Give it a nice pull. Finish this one up. See, we got a nasty one right here, but we can pretty much pull that out. Now, I'm not going to worry about all that because, again, this is a bar stool with a back on it, so I will put that portion on the back. See, we just got some little ones here and there, but that's where the staples are not. So we hit another staple there. And let's keep on going around. We got one right here. Let's pull this a little, and that one's fine. Right here. Got one right here I don't like, so we will pop that out. This is pretty much going on the bottom, so that doesn't really matter. Got a big space right here where we can put one. We got one right here I don't like and one right here. I think that's going to do it. So we will pull this. Here, see that? Got rid of that completely. Put a staple right there and there. Put one right here since there is no staple. Hopefully I got that in frame. I just realized I was getting off the camera. We got another one right here. That should do it. There we go. Next, we're just going to cut off this excess here. We're just going to cut around it, just fairly close. There. Call that one done. We'll have to mount it to the chair. Here we go. It's not perfect, but I think it looks pretty good. I'm satisfied, but a little disappointed. I like things to be perfect, as close as possible, but this is as good as I'm going to get. I don't do this. This is my second one ever, but I think it's a little bit better than the other ones you're going to find on YouTube. There are a couple of ones that looked okay, but I couldn't tell because of the image quality. I don't know what the end result really looked like because it was too dark or too grainy. But this one, you should be able to see pretty clearly. And then there were a lot of bad videos out there, some with a lot of views and some great comments. There was quite a few where the presenter was just pretty much wrapping the round stool in some cloth and stapling it. And there was these ruffles and these wrinkles all over it. And they were talking about how great it made it look. No, it made it look like my 4-year-old at home wrapped some cloth around a stool and stapled it. That's exactly what it looked like. And it was horrible. I'm sorry, but I'm still not happy with this, and I think it looks 100% better than 99% of the stuff on YouTube as far as covering a round stool or a round object. Take your time, don't rush. I mean, these are 5-minute videos. This took probably about 25 minutes. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. I didn't time it, but I know just taking the staples out alone takes a good 5 minutes. So everything else obviously took some time, but the end result it'll show in the project. If you're interested in purchasing anything you've seen in this video, whether it be the staple remover, the stapler, scissors, some material, these Craig benches that I'm using. This is a Craig portable table, works awesome, and I've just got basically a mover's cloth on top of it. The staples, any of that, I'll have that in the description below. links to Amazon, so be sure to check that out. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. And thanks for watching.